Previously on TV Time with Chris. The show started out with, you don't really know what's happening. And then as it goes on, you think that Wanda's the big baddie. And then we just found out that Agnes has been messing with things in the Hex during this time period of the show. So now you think that she's the big baddie. But I think that she's being manipulated. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to TV Time with Chris, the channel devoted specifically to TV shows and limited series. Now, hey, if you love TV shows and limited series, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel because you're going to get that content that you love and then some. Today's Thursday, so we are going to be talking about WandaVision, episode 8, previously on. And this episode, the description has it, handy notebook here again, has it, Wanda embarks on a troubling journey, revisiting her past for insight into her present and future. I guess she embarks on that journey reluctantly, as her kids are being held hostage by the eternal witch Agatha. So this episode, I talked about this in my previous Instagram Live and previous YouTube videos that I had done last week regarding WandaVision episode 7, where those two episodes were heavy on predictions of what I thought was going to happen. And as I had mentioned in one of those 3 videos, this episode did not start out with an intro music because we're no longer in the show that Wanda has created. We're now in real time. So there is no intro music or anything like that. WandaVision. Nope. This is it. Real life. Let's go. The episode opens up in 1693, Salem, Massachusetts. And we see Agatha, and she's being condemned for practicing dark magic. And she's actually, I'm assuming, going to be put to death by the witches in her coven. But instead, she ends up draining their life force and killing them. And maybe that's how she was able to live all these years. Maybe it's kind of reminiscent of another Disney witch series, Hocus Pocus, 1993, where maybe they need to feed off this life force in order to keep living. So maybe that's what she did, and that's how she's able to live all these years, while also enhancing her powers, by taking the powers of others, which you can also see in the movie The Covenant, with Sebastian Stan, who plays Winter Soldier. So check out Hocus Pocus and The Covenant, good movies. But we see her take their life force, and she even takes the life force of her mother and kills her. And, some people say that there's no coming back from that if you kill one of your parents. But as we've seen, that's not necessarily the case when it comes to Disney.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's see. After the whole scene in Salem, we pick up back in Agatha's basement. Agatha's commenting again on Wanda's accent, how it kind of comes and goes. I guess if she's really angry, it shows up. But yeah, Agatha mentions that she possessed someone to take over as Pietro. So the whole, oh my God, is that Mephisto? Is that really Pietro? Did they just change him to bring the mutants in? Like, what were they doing? They answered that he's a nobody, essentially. He's just Joe Schmo that Agatha kind of possessed to play the part of Pietro, to be the eyes and ears, to get closer to Wanda, to get that information, to see how she's doing this powerful magic that is taking over the town, has changed costumes, scenery, cars, everything has changed. And she's doing it instantaneously all throughout town, miles away. So yes, Agatha needs to know how she's doing this. I'm actually moving ahead of my notes. I didn't even know that. Then, Wanda tells the same answer that she told Pietro when Pietro asked her in the Spooktacular episode. Sorry, I've got my notes from my blog. I've got my notes from my notebook up, kind of referencing everything, trying to not miss anything here. Wanda gives the same answer that she gave Pietro in the Spooktacular episode, where she doesn't know how she's doing it. So Agatha says we need to kind of go backwards to move forwards. Kind of a way of figuring out how is it that Wanda got these powers, because Agatha has amassed her powers over her many years. So how's Wanda done it? So, we go back, we look at Wanda when they're 10 years old, and it shows them losing their parents. And essentially the story is right. But me being me, picking up on all the little details, I didn't like this detail of the flashback not being specifically what was told to Ultron. Excuse me. We see in the movie Age of Ultron when Wanda and Pietro go to meet Ultron in the church, and then he takes them to the Hydra base where he's building the many versions of himself, and Pietro starts to tell him the story. His story goes...
We're 10 years old, having dinner, the four of us. And the first shell hits 2 floors below. It makes a hole in the floor. It's big. Our parents go in. The whole building starts coming apart. I grab her, roll under the bed, and the second shell hits, but it doesn't go off.
And, what we see in WandaVision is a little bit different, because we see it as... So we... just that little detail, they're not sitting down having dinner. The first shell comes through, but it doesn't make a hole in the floor that the parents fall through. The rest of it, yes, he grabs her, they go into the bed, the second shell hits, it just sits there, it doesn't go off. That's what Pietro said, but the beginning part isn't exactly what was told. So that little bit kind of, nails on a chalkboard for me. But moving on, after that, we see Wanda at the Hydra base, where Strucker was. We see how she encountered the Mind Stone through Loki's scepter, and it gives her / enhances her powers. It was previously said that just gave her powers, but this episode tries to imply that Wanda was born with these abilities, and the Mind Stone just enhanced those abilities. We see the start of Wanda and Vision's romance together at the Avengers compound, right after she lost Pietro, so right after the events of Age of Ultron, where, she's in her room and Vision comes in, and, he has that great quote, "What is grief if not love persevering?" If that ain't truth, I don't know what is. Hey guys, if you haven't taken a minute to subscribe, make sure you do that. It's free, takes 2 seconds, not even a minute, and it helps me out. So show some support, subscribe, and hit that like button. Then we see Wanda going to Sword to get Vision's body. And we see that, we see what happened in the recorded footage that Hayward showed everyone. I can't remember which episode that was. 4, 5, something like that. But we see that event, but where the video cut out, we see what happens. She doesn't actually take Vision's body. She leaves the compound because she realizes he's gone. And she's driving, driving through Jersey, of all places. But, so she drives to Westview because she has property there. She has a deed for property. And it says to grow old in, V. So I'm assuming this was done by Vision for her as a place where they can just live their life. They wanted to spend this time together. We see that in Infinity War. They snuck away these moments and they just wanted to be together. They just wanted time. And this was going to give them their time. But now Vision's gone, really gone. And Wanda just breaks down, literally, and creates the world that we've been watching for the last 2 months, based on the TV shows that she watched with her family. And she creates everything. She gives everyone a new purpose, and she creates her own vision. So this is not the Vision that we thought it was. This was her creation of Vision. Quick side note. I don't know if anyone else noticed it. I'm sure they did. Plenty of people have probably picked this apart. But the car that Wanda's driving, when she gets and she's pulling into the driveway there in Westview to their property, the license plate, it's a New York license plate, but instead of saying, the Empire State, it says Excelsior, which of course, Stan Lee's thing. And another thing that we see in Age of Ultron, when Thor gives him the drink and he's kind of walking off drunk. Excelsior. Yep. Nod to Stan Lee. Anyway, so yeah, her grief, her broken heart syndrome, whatever you want to call it, created the Westview that we know. And then we see Agatha has finally, figured out this is what's going on. This is what happened. So Agatha disappears. Wanda's left in the house and she hears her kids screaming for her. She runs outside and Agatha has them in some kind of a magical hold. And she's telling Wanda, you're supposed to be a myth. You're not supposed to exist. A being capable of spontaneous creation. And this is chaos magic. And you're the Scarlet Witch. And this is the first time we hear that term, Scarlet Witch, said in the MCU. We all know that she's Scarlet Witch, but she hasn't actually been given that name yet. And they mentioned that again in one of the previous episodes where Hayward asked Agent Wu if Wanda has some weird name like all the other heroes, and she doesn't. But yeah, that's pretty much what happens in the episode. So we're going to talk briefly about, if this will work, my predictions on what's going to happen at the end of WandaVision. This next episode's coming out tomorrow, the 5th, same day as Coming to America on Amazon. I feel this new episode, or this last episode, is going to be the longest one. It's probably going to be about an hour long, but then when you figure you take the 8 or 9 minutes of credits, but yeah, we're going to have an hour-long episode. We're going to see Vision, Wanda's Vision, the red, blue one, show up looking for Wanda and the kids. Because that's what happened in episode 7, where he left Darcy in the funnel cake truck and he was going home. He's going to show up looking for Wanda. He's going to see that Agatha has the kids in this hold. Excuse me. And he's going to come down and engage Agatha. So we're going to end up having a battle between essentially Vision and Wanda against Agatha. Now, fake Pietro or whatever you want to call him, yes, he's Joe Schmo, but we've seen he still has the powers that Pietro has of Quicksilver. So I think he's going to come to the aid of his master, his controller, whatever you want to call Agatha. So it's essentially going to be Agatha and Pietro versus Vision, Wanda, and Monica's going to come. Because remember, Monica was there with Pietro. Maybe they'll have her, maybe Pietro will have her in some kind of hold. Excuse me. I don't know, but at this point, Monica probably doesn't know how to fully control her powers. So she'll be there to aid, but it might be something like the kids. She has powers, but doesn't fully know how to work them yet. So we're essentially going to have Pietro and Agatha against Wanda and Vision, battling it out. Now, in the end credits, we did get to see that when Hayward said we're going to launch today, what they were launching was their Vision, the actual Vision that we've known, who, using the power of Wanda, has been brought back online, but he's now White Vision. So he's an emotionless version of Vision, slightly weaker. I said slightly weaker than the actual Vision. But that's who they're launching into the Hex. So White Vision's going to come in, obviously having the coordinates of where Vision is, because Hayward's been tracking him. White Vision is going to come into the battle. Now, Hayward's goal throughout this essentially has been to take out Wanda. So White Vision is probably going to show up and try to take out Wanda. They see Wanda as the threat. Agatha cannot let this happen. Agatha needs to know how Wanda's doing this. She needs that power. She's power hungry. Like everyone, once you have power, you don't want to lose it. You want more. So Agatha's not going to let White Vision kill Wanda. So the same way that in Age of Ultron, Pietro and Wanda turn against Ultron and join the Avengers, I think we're going to see Agatha turn against White Vision in order to help Wanda and Vision, to keep Wanda alive so that she can learn the secrets of this chaos magic. So we're going to be there. I think Wanda not knowing what White Vision really is, maybe thinking that it's another creation of Agatha, she might decide to close the Hex. Which will be a heartbreaking decision for her, because that means she'll lose Vision. But I think she's going to do it thinking it'll stop White Vision. She'll bring down the Hex. Vision will disappear, but White Vision will still remain. And obviously, fake Pietro's gone. So now we'll have essentially Agatha and Wanda, because again, Monica, I don't think will fully understand how to control her powers. We'll have Wanda and Agatha against White Vision, who, being emotionless, will probably have an upper hand in battle with people around, with the kids, and Monica. So I think that's the way the battle's going to ensue. And then we're going to get the cameo. I don't think White Vision was that cameo that everyone was talking about. Now, as much as I would love to see it be a Mephisto or especially a Doctor Doom, we all know, I have a man crush for Doom. I think, because they say that this show will tie into Doctor Strange, I think that the cameo we're going to get is going to be Mordo. He's going to show up when the hex falls. He's going to banish White Vision to another dimension. And essentially, he's looking for Agatha. Because Agatha is a witch. Witches do magic, which is like sorcery. And we saw in the end of Doctor Strange, Mordo saying that the world has too many sorcerers. He's trying to eliminate them. So maybe he's been on the hunt for Agatha. So he'll banish White Vision somewhere to an other universe, a multiverse, and he's looking for Agatha. Agatha is going to run. So Wanda is going to be essentially, I think, trying to find Agatha. I think in the future, Wanda is going to be looking for Agatha as someone who can help teach her more of this magic and how to control her abilities. Because we know that that was Agatha's role in the comics, helping Wanda control that chaos magic. So I think that's what's going to happen. Wanda's going to be on the hunt, so to speak, for Agatha, and so is Mordo. I think after this show passes and in the future of the MCU, I think in her travels, Wanda will lose her kids. I still think Mephisto's the big bad guy. I think Mephisto is going to absorb the children because that's part of his soul. He's going to absorb the kids. Wanda, at this point, is going to go insane. She's going to unleash her powers, which is going to draw the attention of, I guess you'd call them the new Avengers, who are going to come to try to stop Wanda. They won't be able to do it, so Agatha will step in. And this is where Agatha will wipe Wanda's memory of the kids to kind of ease that pain and get Wanda under control. I think that's how the next Avengers movie is going to be. I think Wanda's going to be the bad guy. I think Agatha's going to come and help the Avengers to control Wanda. And in so doing, Doctor Strange is going to protect Agatha from Mordo. And then we'll probably see them in Doctor Strange 2 later on in 2022. I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I think Mordo's going to be the cameo. I still think Mephisto's the big bad guy. Those are my predictions for how it's going to end. And again, Vision being in a multiverse, maybe this is how we get the Fantastic Four. Maybe somewhere, we know that they travel somewhere to get their powers. That's the way it's been in the previous movies that they've done. So maybe they travel somehow to this multiverse through some kind of creation of Reed Richards. And they travel with Victor, and Victor coming in contact with a vibranium synthezoid. Maybe this is where he begins his transformation into Doctor Doom. That's what I would like to see. So that's my prediction for the future of the MCU regarding the Fantastic Four, Doom, the next Avengers movie, Doctor Strange 2, and the ending of WandaVision. So those are my thoughts, my predictions, and my review of WandaVision episode 8, previously on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, we'll all find out tomorrow just how wrong I really was. But make sure you check out the Instagram, Movie Time with Chris. You're going to get the little snippets of everything that's going to come on the YouTube channel. Speaking of the YouTube channel, make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and ring that bell, because you don't want to miss any future videos that are going to be on this channel. Also, I'm on Twitter, so make sure you check me out there, where you're going to get a heads up of what I'm working on for the day for both Instagram and YouTube. Go to my blog, www.movietimewithchris.com, where you can get my in-depth analysis and prediction of WandaVision episode 8 and where the MCU is going to go. That post is up, so you can go check that out. You guys can follow me on Twitch, Movie Time with Chris. I do mobile gaming, specifically Star Wars, Marvel, and Plague. But I'm hoping soon to be doing a watch party. We'll see. Maybe Coming to America 2 will be on the list for watch parties, and I'll do a watch party for Coming to America. But yeah. And if there's ever a topic you want to hear about or a show that you want me to review, email me, movietimewithchris@gmail.com. I'm going to check that email multiple times a day. I will not miss your message. And the topic you want to hear about will be in a future video on this channel. But until next time, stay safe and take care.